Hello guys, how's everyone doing? This is RubyKaurSingh with the Real Estate News School. As we know, we are covering all the investors, you know, lessons. And we covered a lot, right? As you've been watching all those um, videos throughout these sections. And if you haven't watched those, please go back because there's so much goes in the beginning so you can understand what we are talking today. Okay. Um, so you know that the previous section we covered flipping houses, right? But let's talk today on making money on flipped houses. Okay. Um, Determining whether a property will make a good flip, right? It depends largely on figuring out the ARV. Ruby, what is ARV? ARV, guys, it's the abbreviation of after repair value. ARV is the abbreviation of after repair value. Okay, like there's a basic simple formula for this is like property's current value plus value of renovation equal to after repair value, ARV. So for the current value, you should use the purchase price, okay? The renovation value is a little trickier to manage. Although the more properties you flip, the better handle you'll have on these numbers, right? As we talked, earlier, that there is a formula involved in this, okay? But particularly when you are a new into real estate investment world, or if you are a new to real estate, or if you are a new to appraisals, or if you are new to contracts, right? It can help you get more accurate numbers, you know, um, because of course, with the experience, right? With more properties you flip, the better handle you'll have on these numbers, correct? So a good ARV, it involves looking at comps. Oh, Ruby, what is comps, man? Comps are it's called it's an abbreviation of comparable properties. Okay, these are the comparable properties or comps near the property you are considering um, flipping, correct? So while you can do this on your own or with someone's help, you know, you can also put together a comparative or competitive, values. It's called, the abbreviation of that is CMA. Okay, CMA is a competitive market analysis. So that competitive market analysis, CMA, that will show you the value of all the comps in their completely fixed up state. Okay. So the renovation, you know, and these kind of, you know, it can come with the, you can talk to any of your person, if you know, who is appraiser, who or someone who is in real estate, right? They can send you these kind of information or the reports. Okay. So like myself, you know, because I have access to MLS and I can get that. And plus, remember we've been covering in the, for the investor, that you don't have to have a, you know, um, to get into MLS, you can just sign up as non, you know, agent. Okay. And you can get these kind of information from MLS. So renovations can vary from minor cosmetics in these fixed up state of these property values. Um, it can, you know, vary from minor cosmetic fixer to major rehab. So your cost to renovate, it needs to include material, the labor, you know, all the costs, and should always take into account your end buyer. So for example, okay, let me give you an example on this. So if you're flipping a commercial or a rental property, okay, your material need to be within that span of what's acceptable for that kind or that type of space in that type of market, right? Let me repeat that again, guys. Okay, listen, listen. Okay, so if you're flipping a rental property or a commercial property, right, your material need to be within that span of what's acceptable for that type of space in that type of market. Okay. So however, if you're flipping a residential property, okay, you want to make sure you do some upgrading to make sure you include the feature that buyers in that area are looking for. Okay, because let me repeat that again, guys. Listen, listen. If you're flipping a residential property, you want to make sure you do some upgrade to make sure you include the features buyers in that area are looking for. Same as if you are flipping a commercial property, right? You want to make sure you do some, you know, features or upgrade to include in that commercial property those features that the buyers in that area or that kind of property they are interested in or they are looking for, right? So to keep your costs low, to make sure that you shop around, okay, when you renovating or when you upgrading a little bit, okay. So like big box store often have great deals, right? um but you can also find many things you need to rehab stores um and liquidators. Okay, your contractor may be able to help you with this, okay, and they may be able to find these great deals as well for you, right? So speaking of your contractor, you want to keep in touch, you know, to supervise, make sure you're supervising them as needed. Okay. You lose time and money if the work has to be redone. Okay. Make sure that you do your homework, you do checkups on that contractor. How long they've been in the market, how long they've been in the business, and what kind of portfolio they have done. Okay. You don't want to just hire someone, you know, just to save some pennies, right? And then you have to hire another person who knows what they are doing, and then have to work and pay them also to have all the work redone. So regardless of whether it's due to a mistake or if it's simply not up to your standards, okay, all these factors plays major role. So how, let's see, let's talk about actually how you can determine your return of investment. Remember, we covered that, all that in previous section about ROI, correct? There are two main methods when it comes to ROIs: the cost method and the out-of-pocket method. These are the two major factors, guys. The, okay, let me repeat that again. So listen, listen, guys. Um, the ROI, okay, is the cost method and the out of pocket method. So let's look at a couple of, let me give you some examples, okay? Um, when it comes to ROIs, okay, keeping in mind that the ROI for both involves dividing the equity position, okay? The how we can figure that out, again, there's a formula for that too. The amount sold minus the amount invested by the total amount invested. Okay, let me repeat that again. The formula, guys, listen. Okay, listen, guys. So there's a formula involved to get the ROI. That's the equity position, right, divided by total investment is equal to ROI. Okay, got it, Ruby. But how can we determine, Ruby, the cost method? Okay, is there any way we can figure that out? Yes, we can, guys. So listen, listen. Okay, I'm going to give you an example on that, okay? Suppose, for example, this is, if you're taking notes, right? Suppose the purchase price of the property is 100,000, okay? And then the renovation cost is 50,000, correct? So 100,000 plus 50,000 is equal to, that's a basic math, right? Or first grade math, um, is equal to total investment, 100,000 plus 50,000 equal to what? Right. You're right. You are so smart, guys. I love my students, man. I got the best students in the world. They are so smart. Yes, you're so right. The total investment is 150,000. So, okay, the reason we get into these investors, you know, or investing into these properties in investor strategy is, of course, right, because we want to make money, right, when we're flipping these houses, correct? So here we pull out the purchase price was 100,000, the renovation cost was 50,000, the total investment was, of course, you guys told me that 150,000 because thank you. You guys are the smartest. I love you guys. So the total investment is 150,000, but suppose if you want to sell it for 200,000, okay? Of course you want to make money, right? The equity position of 200,000 plus what your investment was into this property was 150,000, right? So tell me how much was your ROI, guys? 200,000, we sold it, right? Suppose this is we're talking about example, and our investment with renovation and everything costs all that add up to 150, right? And we sold it for 200. So 200 minus 150 is what? Yes. Man, thank you. You guys are the best. Thank you for letting me know. Yes, you're so right, guys. 50,000. So ROI is 50,000. Okay. So how, how can we, because ROI, it stands for, rate of investment, right? Rate of return. That's a return on your investment, and how we can determine the percentage of how much is your rate of return on this investment. Okay, so suppose now we figured out in that formula that ROI is 50,000, our cost total involved was 150,000. So 150,000 divided by 50,000 is equal to what? Yep, you got it. Yes, 0.33. So the it is like 33% is our ROI in that property. Okay. All right. So now let's move to the next one. Um, Out of pocket method. Okay. How can we figure out what is the out of pocket method? Suppose the loan amount on that is 100,000. Okay. Your down payment on that amount was 20,000, correct? Our renovation cost was 50,000. Okay. That we covered in the cost method, right? In ROI cost method. So listen, guys, listen, listen. Let me repeat that again. Okay. If you're taking notes. Suppose your loan amount is 100,000, your down payment was 20,000, your renovation cost was 50,000, sorry. And then your total investment out of pocket is 70,000, correct? So if you're selling that for 200,000, right? To make money, the equity position for 200,000 minus 70,000, because how we came up with 70,000, Ruby? Remember that, guys? The rent, we did the renovation for 50,000. It cost us 50,000 for to do the renovation on that property. And then we got the loan, and the loan was, of course, we pay down payment for that loan 20%, 20% is 20,000, 20%, because when you pay 20%, you don't have to pay extra cost to get that loan. And I'll cover all that as we go along, okay? I don't want to confuse you guys. Right now, we're just talking about out-of-pocket method, okay? So the loan amount is 100,000. Down payment is on that loan amount 20%, which is 20,000, correct? And the renovation cost is 50,000. The total investment out of pocket, 50 plus 20,000, 50,000 plus 20,000 is what? Yes! You, you're right again, my friend. Yes, I got the best students, man. Um, yes, you're right. 50,000 plus 20,000 is 70,000. So total investment you did out of your pocket is 70,000. And now you're selling it to 200,000, right? So the equity position on that is that's how we determine the equity position. The equity position on that is 200,000 minus 70,000 equal to what? Yes, you're right again. It's 130,000. So ROI in out of pocket method, we're talking about out of pocket method, guys, right? So how we determine ROI on out of pocket method. Before we covered the cost method. Now out of pocket method, how much is our ROI, return on our investment? Okay. So how we determine, remember how we determine the ROI on cost method, right? We just talked about that. Now we determine the out of pocket method, which is how much is our ROI. That, we sold it for 200,000. We're set, and then our ROI was, remember we took out the equity position, 200,000 minus 70,000 equal to what? 130,000, right? You're so right. And then 200,000, then we divided by our equity position, which is 130,000. So that comes to what? Let's divide that again. 130,000 divided by 200,000 is equal to what? Yes! 0.65. So your rate on investment ROI is on that investment is 65%, guys. Okay, so as you can see, using a loan in the out of pocket method can bring in a higher ROI. Okay, because the amount of your own money, right, as a flipper, um, the amount of your own money you spent on the project was lower, right? And that's how we figured it out, by this formula, right? So it's easy to figure out with these formulas, right? Okay. So let's move to what costs are involved when we are, you know, doing these kind of flipping deals. Okay. Um, listen, guys, listen. What costs are involved? Okay. So I briefly mentioned holding cost earlier, right? But it's important you know exactly what they can entail. Okay. So like you should consider these points, okay? So if you have pen and paper handy, if you're writing, or you can always go back and watch these videos over and over, so you know uh, when you are ready to do these deals, okay? Um, or you can also, send it to someone, your loved one, who are planning to get into, real estate and investing into properties, or, they're planning to do wholesaling, or they're planning to do uh, flipping, so that way you can also help them, okay, with forwarding these videos or sharing these videos, what I'm trying to bring it out, letting you guys know, because these are, it's not costing you guys anything, right? But for me, my goal is to bring the awareness, right, out there. So let's talk about that, about the cost to consider when we're doing these deals. Okay, guys. And like I briefly, I mentioned like holding costs earlier, right? But it's important you know exactly what they can entail. So let me give you some points on that. Hope you're writing it, and or you can go back and watch the video again. Um, there's some points involved in that they that you should consider when you're working out your financial plan to flip the property. Okay. Um, First of all, the cost is, remember, we got the loan, right? And if you got the loan, we know that you have to pay what on it? Yes, you're right. You have to pay interest on the loan, right? Then number one is interest. Number two, you have to consider real estate taxes that involves in that. Okay. Then it involves insurance premiums, either monthly or 6 months or yearly, right? Then you have to consider all that utilities into the property. You have to have your utilities on, your water, your electricity, your HVAC, your sewer, all that also cost involved in that in every property, right? We know that. And then landscaping, right? If you're hiring someone to do, your landscaping, there's a cost involved in that too, to cut the grass, to do all the work, right? Unless you're doing yourself. So, or if you are in the snow area, you have to hire someone to remove the snow, right? So, and then the security alarm, that is another cost involved into it. So first, let me repeat that again, guys. What are the costs involved when you get into the property, when you're buying a property? Until you sell the property, these costs are gonna be there every month, every month. So listen, guys. First of all is the loan, right? Loan, you have to worry about PITI. Ruby, what? Okay, Ruby. What is PITI now? All right. PITI is principal, your interest, your taxes, and insurance. Got it. Thank you, Miss Ruby. Got it now. Yes. So PI is the principal on the loan, I is the interest on the loan, T is the taxes on the loan, and then I is the insurance on the loan. Because no lender, no bank will give you a loan unless you have these in the loan. They won't give you a loan. If you don't have insurance, no loan for you. You have to pay taxes, right? You have to pay insurance, right? Insurance is to protect the property, correct? And then principal of the loan also. Okay, so you have to consider these things. It's your principal, your interest, your taxes, your insurance premiums, utilities, water, electricity, HVAC, sewer, your landscaping, your snow removal, your security, so nobody just break into the properties, right? So on security, like let me talk about the security. On security, it's important to remember that why you need security, okay? The empty houses, especially when they are being renovated, that can attract the criminals, okay? Those criminals, they are looking for these kind of properties who are being renovated, right? And when the work is not being done or at night time, they go in, they break in to the properties, and then they steal your utensil, your what you call that, your supplies, or there's a cooking stove, or there's a washing machine. So anything is valuable uh, in that property, you know that's why they are criminals. That's how their mind work, and their mind work is the criminals. All they want is to steal, 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 right? That's why they are criminals. Okay, that's how they go through the life. So that's why security of the property is very important, guys. Okay, so that means your house must be locked when no one is there, or if you have to let someone go who's working on the property, right, and they have the key, you need to change your locks just in case, okay, or so they don't damage your property, or so that's why you need to consider getting a security system. So let me talk about, if you just not getting into the loan, okay. So if you suppose you're not getting into the loan, and you are um, just paying a cash, okay. Yes, you're right. You asked that, Ms. Ruby. We um, you know, I don't need to get into the loan. I don't need to come up with 20%. I don't need to pay interest and all that, those things right now, because I'm buying property with cash. So remember that, guys. Even if you're buying the property with the cash, right? Your cash is still tied up until that property is sold. It's out of your pocket, right? So while you are you know, not technically, we're talking, if you're not losing money on the property, right, by not getting into loan and not paying interest, not paying, worrying about paying anything, principal and interest on the loan, or, you know, all the cost it involved to get into the loan or points or everything, right? Suppose you, if you're not getting into the loan, you're paying from your own cash money, your whole cash money is tied up to what? To the property till it's sold, right? So you still technically losing money on this property. Okay. So you cannot buy or invest into anything else, because you might, yes, you might have more money that you can buy properties with, but this cash is attached to the property till it, you know, till you find a buyer, till it gets sold, right? So, and there's no ROI on this property till it get, you know, sold, or it's free, right? Free and clear. Um, the cash is into your hand. Okay. So obviously, right? We don't know about, first of all, real estate market predictions, right? Or the property, or finding the perfect buyer for that property you are selling or flipping, right? The more longer you have the property, the more cost is adding up. The longer it is sitting, as a we're talking about as an investor, as a flipper, the longer it is sitting on the market, the more costs are adding up every month, correct? And we covered the costs. I hope you were taking notes on that. But one way to speed up the process on these flipping deals, and we talked about renovating and all that, we covered that. So one way to speed up the process, guys, is to ensure your contract knows what they are doing, okay, for these renovating projects, and they can start work immediately after closing. Okay, so this way, soon as ready to buy these flipping deals, because while these flipping deals, while you are in contract till the deal is closed, you can't do anything because that house does not belong to you yet, till it closed, correct? But soon as that flipping deal with the seller, or who you bought it from, that house, right? Soon as it close the deal, make sure you're ready, that you have a contractor who can start the work. But another thing, guys, okay, listen, guys, listen, okay? Keep in mind, don't start the work before it closes. It might don't close. Guys, that's a real estate prediction. This is even in life too. Okay? Don't start the work before it closes. You are thinking that, okay, yes, I know, Miss Ruby, I know the deal is gonna close. I know. You don't know, guys. Okay, if it's gonna close. Anything could happen. Anything can happen. So don't start all that spend money on renovating projects, spending money on these projects or paying all these, contractors. And and if what happened if the deal doesn't close, guys, then you have to, figure out, right, nail and tooth, figuring out how you're gonna get out that money back now from them. Okay, so don't start till the final day, till everything is good, till it close and you have the key in your hand. Okay, so this way you don't waste the time, you don't waste the money, you don't waste the money on the permits with the county, city, anything like that, or contractors or material or construction. So all these, factors plays when you are flipping, and how you can make money, flipping these houses. Alrighty, guys, I think we again covered it enough. And as I said, my students are the best. You guys are so, so smart. You figured out those formulas just like that. I can, it's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, and keep watching, guys. Keep listening. Um, there's a wealth of information. Uh, I'm giving it to you guys, and it's all free. Okay. There is, you know, nothing like this out there. And I felt that this is definitely a need, because so many people are getting burned with naiveness, and they spend so much of their time, their efforts, their money, right? And that's a loss for you and for your family that you can never recoup, guys. Never. Some losses we can never recoup. So I'm just trying to bring you guys awareness so you don't get burned, you don't get taken advantage from the people who who you know playing these kind of games, just take advantage of people, and they don't care if you get hurt, or in that process they don't care if your family get hurt, right? It's all about them. That's it. So guys, listen, okay, and share these videos and forward these videos to your loved one, so they don't have to go through this. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, for watching these videos, listening to them, and You take care. Okay? We'll talk soon. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye, guys. Again, this is Ruby Singh with the Real Estate News School, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye, guys.